Welcome to another episode of Mike's Money Picks. Today on the podcast, we're going to be breaking down the 2024 edition of LIV Golf Andalucia, which is the LIV Golf tournament that is played in Spain at Real Valderrama Golf Club. LIV Golf is heading to Spain the week before the Open Championship. So all these guys are going to be on our radar next week at the Open. So it is a great idea to dig in deep, do some research, and pay attention this week to what's happening in Valderrama, so that way we know which of these LIV guys are coming into the Open with good form. However, I will say, I don't know if this is necessarily the best prep tournament for an Open Championship. We're going to break down exactly what this course is presenting with the LIV guys this week, and then we are going to take a look at the betting board and identify who we like as potential winners this week here at LIV Andalucia, because as of right now, DraftKings does not have DFS contests. So this is going to be a really betting-focused show. If DraftKings does come through with DFS contests, then all the research and opinions that we have are going to be evergreen. They're going to apply in DFS as well. But pretty much here, that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to break down the course, take a look at who we like, because these guys are going to be guys that we're going to need to know heading into next week. Now, while you are here, make sure you are subscribed to the channel on YouTube as well as to the audio feed, because over the next 2 nights, we've got 2 more golf shows coming your way. Tomorrow, we are going to break down the Pup Cup, which is Underdog's best ball draft for the FedEx Cup playoffs. And then Friday night is going to be our big Open Championship breakdown as well. So make sure you are here for that, as well as the rest of the PGA and LIV golf seasons if you are subscribed to the channel. And then we've got all of our NFL, college, and best ball content coming your way as well. All right, that does it for the introduction. Let's go ahead and break down Real Valderrama. All right, now Real Golf Club Valderrama is located in Spain. It is a par 71, and it is a little over 7,000 yards. I got to be honest, this is one of the best quote-unquote gets that the LIV Golf Tour has gotten. This is perennially ranked as one of the top 100 courses in the world, and previously hosted a DP World Tour event, the Andalucia Masters, which promptly ended once they signed the contract with LIV that LIV could host a yearly event there. But this is a very quality golf course. It's very visually, aesthetically pleasing. It's quite challenging. It's a fun layout. I don't think it's the best prep for an Open Championship, though, but this is a quality course and a quality event that we're going to have for LIV this week. Not much like what we saw at the Grove at Nashville or at Crooked Cat in Orlando, where I just did not think those courses were suited for professional golf. This one is. This is a beautiful, challenging, greatly laid out golf course that is befitting of the LIV Golf Tour. Now, this course, with it being a little over 7,000 yards, par 71, is super short. It is also super narrow. The fairways themselves are not super duper narrow in their own right, but pretty much every hole is densely tree lined. This hole pretty much plays through the Spanish countryside in like a forested area. So with it being tree lined, there's just not that much room for misses. You're going to get caught up in the trees if you have a big miss. And there's also pretty thick rough to contend with as well. So you want to be playing from the fairway this week. Playing from the fairway is going to be a big component. So it really last year, when it was played here, you saw a lot of guys choosing less than driver off the tee, like Bryson DeChambeau specifically was swinging irons off the tee quite a bit. And if you're one of the longer hitters like Bryson, hitting iron off the tee is quite an advantage because, you can control your precision with that club, but also a guy like Bryson's not going to lose that much on distance as well. But that is a strategy you're going to see a lot of this week. So it does make the course play slightly longer than the distance on the scorecard because guys aren't just going to be able to wail away and hit 300+ yard drives. Now, the greens themselves this week are super tiny. They're comparable to Pebble Beach. Tiny Pebble Beach is the smallest greens that we see annually on the PGA Tour. I think these might actually be smaller than Pebble Beach. I haven't found a site that has reliable, exact numbers, but they're about on par with Pebble Beach. And they can be made to play quite fast as well. So really, this is like a risk and reward golf course because the more you can bite off the tee, the shorter of approach shot you can get into these greens, which you're going to want because you're hitting to a super small target that can play very firm and fast. And so you want the shortest wedges that you can be hitting into these greens to give yourself the best advantage possible. Now, this is one of the more difficult golf courses that LIV plays year in and year out. Last year, Taylor Gooch won this event in -11. Bryson DeChambeau was the runner-up, 2 strokes back. But only 4 players out of the 48 that played finished lower than -4 for the week. There were a few guys who had rounds of -4 or better on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, but only 4 finished lower than -4 for the week. That is a quite difficult golf course. That's like almost major championship scoring. So, kind of like I've been alluding to this whole episode, I don't think this is the best like preparation for a links golf design that you're going to be seeing in Royal Troon next week. But spoiler alert for Friday night's episode about Royal Troon, hitting fairways is going to be paramount at Royal Troon as well. Royal Troon is also going to require a lot of precision off the tee. So if a guy's playing well at LIV Andalucia and they're playing next week at Royal Troon, look out because that guy is dialed in. Now, one thing that I do like is because this course did host a DP World Tour event for years, we have a lot of actionable course history data to go off of to look at, who plays pretty well here. And you can look at the graph on datagolf.com. In terms of all the European courses, this one is like right around average in terms of stickiness of course history. So, guys who do play well here tend to continue to play well here. It's not one of the more random events that you see on the DP World Tour. Now, back in 2019, Christian Bezaden, who won, notably for LIV, Jon Rahm finished in 2nd. Sergio Garcia finished in 7th. I'm looking for other like notable names that played here that year. Thomas Dietrich was T8. Minwoo Lee was T23. Minwoo Lee actually has great history here. Then in 2020, the event was played here, and John Catlin, who is playing this week on LIV, did win the event, with Martin Keimer also playing this week on LIV as the runner-up. Looking for more notable names, Lee Westwood was T10. I believe that's about it that finished near the top of the board. 2021, Matt Fitzpatrick won the event. Minwoo Lee was one of the two guys at T2. Alex Bjork and Sebastian Soderberg finished near the top of the leaderboard. Ryan Fox finished near the top of the leaderboard. He's kind of a guy that played in the Bryson DeChambeau model of I'm going to club down off the tee and have short clubs into greens. Still, those are kind of the only notable results from 2021. Then in 2022, Adrian Otegi was the winner. Minwoo Lee was 3rd place. Jordan L. Smith, not to be confused with Stephen A. Smith, finished in T6. Robert McIntyre, T9. John Catlin, again, T11. That's pretty much all the notable names. Then you go to LIV's leaderboard last year. Taylor Gooch won, Bryson 2nd, Brooks 3rd, Munoz, Kokrak, Reed, Puge, DJ, and Tringawe, and then Sergio Garcia and Joaquin Niemann rounding out the top 10 and ties. So when you look at overall course history, and really when you look at all the names that we talked about, it's a lot of like precision-based golfers that are going to show up at the top of the leaderboard, right? Like Taylor Gooch tends to play his best on short courses, tends to play his best at courses where accuracy matters quite a bit. Not shocking that he was the winner there. Bryson, we talked about his strategy of clubbing down and still having the advantage of distance on his second shot. Bryson's just been the best player on the LIV Tour in the last calendar year, so it's not shocking to see him come in 2nd there. Brooks Koepka, you always got to be looking at Brooks the week before a major. Came in 3rd place last year. In terms of total course history, Miguel Angel Jimenez actually ranks 4th. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that one, but he is up there. He must have played it forever ago because we don't have any data from the last 5 years on him. Sebastian Munoz finished 4th last year. Sergio Garcia plays here a ton, has a ton of good finishes here, 7th and 10th in his most recent appearances. And then in the T5 group for LIV last year, you have Kokrak, Reed, and Puge. Kokrak, his most recent win on the PGA Tour was at Colonial, which is a shorter, precision-based course, so it's not exactly shocking to see him play well here. I believe he was tied for the first-round lead last year with Dustin Johnson. And then in terms of like other PGA Tour guys that have played this event multiple times, we mentioned that Bezaden, who won, Shane Lowry has good history here. Minwoo Lee has great history here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. John Catlin, we talked about already. Great history here. 1st, 11th, and 11th in his last 3 appearances at this course. All right, so that is all the data. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the betting board and see if we can identify some guys that we'd like to. So looking at the betting board, Bryson DeChambeau sits as the tournament favorite, and I gotta say it's well-deserved, right? Like he has been the best player on the LIV Tour this season. The finishes on LIV have kind of been okay, but when you look at what he's done in the majors, I don't think there's going to be anybody debating that he's currently the best overall player on the LIV Tour. And he finished runner-up here last year. we mentioned at the top, like his strategy of clubbing down off the tee is going to make him kind of like an evergreen player at any type of course, if we're being honest, because he does have the ability to increase his own accuracy without sacrificing distance, unlike a lot of other players in the field. So I really do think he's a very sensible winner. But like, let's be honest, Bryson isn't here to win LIV Andalucia. Bryson is about winning next week. So I don't think that is a great number to bet him outright on. I will pass on Bryson for the outright winner, and I would rather go with Jon Rahm. Because let's be honest, Jon Rahm needs something to go right. I think you can make me a compelling argument right now that Jon Rahm is not a top 10 or maybe even top 15 golfer in the world based off of his results in 2024. Granted, on LIV, he's gotten a little unlucky. He's been in contention a lot of Sundays and just hasn't closed the deal. It's actually kind of incredible how many times he's been close but not quite closed the deal on LIV. And in the majors, he's just been bad, right? Just barely made the cut at the Masters, missed the cut at the PGA quite badly, withdrew from the U.S. Open in embarrassing fashion. So, like, I really think out of anybody in this field, Jon Rahm needs to see it go through the hoop more than anybody else in the field, if we're being honest. If he wants any chance at contending next week, you really want to see him play well. This week, it's also in his home country of Spain, so he has that going for him. I think if I were to bet any name from the top of the board, it would be Jon Rahm. Now, I also like Tyrrell Hatton. I wish his number were a little higher than 11-1. He is the recent winner of LIV Nashville, played very well at the U.S. Open, played very well at the Masters this year as well. He's just playing good golf. And Tyrrell Hatton, he really cut his teeth on the Euro Tour coming up. He's used to playing this type of layout, this type of design, even though he wasn't on LIV last year. I just think that a guy like Hatton, whose game is based on precision and can get hot with the putter, I think that he's the type of guy that does contain the upside to win this event. It would not shock me to see him win back-to-back LIV events. Now, another guy that I like a lot but don't like the price on, Sergio Garcia. I think he is a absolutely no bet at 16-1. He has been great in the calendar year 2024. He has been great at this golf course, but I just don't buy that he's a 16-1 type of player anymore. Like, you're really telling me that he has about a 7% chance of winning this golf tournament? I just don't see it that way. So Sergio Garcia, if DraftKings does come out with DFS this week, love him in DFS formats, don't like him as an outright bet. I think the market you might want Sergio Garcia on is a top 10 or maybe even a top 10 parlay where you can get him for plus higher than even money. So I do think that would be the way I would like to get my exposure to Sergio Garcia. And then Taylor Gooch is a fade for me as well. We've been well documented here at Mike's Money Picks as, I don't want to say anti-Taylor Gooch because I was a fan of his. I played him all the time in DFS when he was on the PGA Tour, but I'm not a fan of how he has conducted himself in the last calendar year. And what I mean by that is all he does is complain that LIV players deserve to be in the majors and says that he should have qualified for winning on LIV, and then goes out, makes no effort to qualify on his own. And in the majors that he does get invited or qualified for, he doesn't play very well in them. And so I'm at a point with him where, like, I genuinely don't believe he wants to put in the work to get to where he needs to get to in the majors. He is just okay with being a good LIV golf player. And I don't want to play psychologist, but I just haven't seen that dog in Taylor Gooch this year, and I don't see him crossing the winner's circle. Now, if the counter argument is, well, this is a great course fit for him, this is a place where he had success, bet him top 10 or play him in DFS, but I'm not picking Taylor Gooch as an outright winner until he shows me something that he has more in between his ears than what he's shown in the last calendar year. Now, Cameron Smith is also a pure fade for me as well. We don't like courses where inaccuracy costs you for Cameron Smith. And this is a course where inaccuracy will jump up and bite you in the butt because you're going to be facing with tree trouble. Now, Cameron Smith is enough of an artist in the golf game and has a good enough short game, all the shots in his bag, he can escape from it and make par more often than a lot of these guys, but you're going to have to make a few birdies if you want to win. So I just don't have faith in Cameron Smith's driver to keep himself in play in this type of tournament, and I will be passing on him for that reason. I do like Patrick Reed this week at 22-1. With this course having super small greens, Patrick Reed did have a top 5 finish here last year. With this course having super small greens, Patrick Reed is a short game animal. And if a course has small greens I feel like I've said that 3 times. I'm sorry. That means the short game is going to come into play because people are going to be missing greens. And so pick a guy like Patrick Reed, who has a short game that is better than those around him. And I think at 22-1, that's a very reasonable price tag for Patrick Reed. I also think that Louis Oosthuizen at 22-1 is a reasonable price tag. He's been finishing well on LIV and on the DP World Tour. However, I like Louis at the Open next week more so than I like him at LIV Andalucia this week. Brooks Koepka's 22-1 in this field. And look, in terms of a pure talent play, Brooks ain't a 22-1 guy in this field. But Brooks has also, much like Bryson, not really shown a whole lot of motivation to win on LIV and just wants to get right for the majors. But Brooks has historically been good on LIV the week before the majors. He won LIV Orlando the week before the Masters last year, won LIV Singapore before the PGA this year. So I do think that this is a spot that Brooks is going to play his best and look to contend. And so even if you don't want to bet him as an outright, I think a top 5 or a top 10 bet on Brooks is quite reasonable considering his talent level and where he's at in this field. The last event where LIV played a course that put a premium on accuracy was at Hong Kong. That was one of the shortest courses I've ever seen professional golf played at. And the winner was Abraham Answer. He's in this field at 25-1. If you believe in that narrative that, hey, this is another course where accuracy is at a premium, I do think that Abraham Answer would be a guy who could fit that quite well. He generally is at his best on short golf courses that place a premium on accuracy because he is not long off the tee and he is accurate with his driver and his irons. Now, after that, I got to say, I don't think this is going to be an event that is won by like a scrub on LIV. There's a lot of people out there touting John Catlin this week, and I get it. Look, he won here on the DP World Tour. He's finished 11th in both iterations that he played after that on the DP World Tour. He clearly has a high level of comfortability with this golf course, a high level of experience on this golf course. But I don't think he's at the same talent level as a lot of other guys in this field. Keep in mind, he is playing in this event as an alternate for somebody else who is hurt. I believe it is Charles Howell III, because I believe John Catlin is on the Crushers. But I just don't know if he has the upside to win. I think he's a great top 10 bet, great top 5 bet, but 55-1, I think that number's been bet down by a lot of people who've been touting him this week. I will pass on the outright number, but I would take him top 5, top 10. And I love him in DFS. If DraftKings comes out with DFS, he is going to be the most popular value play this week in DFS. All right, now, I also really like Anirban Lahiri this week. He's another guy that plays his best at courses where, accuracy is at a premium, shorter golf courses. Don't think he's a great outright bet, but I think he's a pretty good top 10, top 20. And I believe I missed Jason Kokrak. He is 50-1 this week to win. He is probably the last guy that I would put a legitimate bet on to win, either Kokrak or Puig, both at 50-1. Both played well here last year. We mentioned that crossover to Colonial with Jason Kokrak. David Puig is from Spain, so he should have added motivation to win this tournament. So both of them at 51, I don't mind one bit. And I got to say, with this being a shorter golf course, the old head Euro players who are short off the tee but good with their irons and good with their short game, they're not going to be boxed out this week. And so if you want to take a shot at one of these older guys like a Henrik Stenson or a Martin Keimer or a Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, Graham McDowell, if you want to take a shot on them, become top 10, top 20, or play them in DFS if DraftKings gets off their butt and gets DFS, then I don't mind it at all. I think the most popular one will probably be Martin Keimer, given that he has generally played pretty well in 2024, and he did play well here when this was an event on the DP World Tour. So Martin Keimer would be a guy that I would consider in that regard. All right, and that pretty much does it for the individual betting board. I got to say, let's see if we can find the team bet. I don't think DraftKings has the team bet, but so without the odds, without seeing them, the team that I would bet on this week would be the Fireball, Sergio Garcia's team. They do have, a whole lot of Hispanic players who are going to take pride in this tournament. And with it being in Spain, I do think that you're going to see them play well. Abraham Answer is a guy who should fit this course perfectly, as same deal with David Puig. So I do think that this would be a week for the Fireballs, even though they haven't had a whole lot of success this year to come through. If you're looking for the team that's probably the favorite to win, I think Legion 13 should be the betting favorite, with John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton at the top. They're probably two of the best 3 golfers in this field this week, in my opinion. So I think Legion 13 should be the favorite, but if you're looking for a long shot team, do not sleep on the Fireballs. All right, so that does it for the LIV Andalucia 2024 preview. If we helped you out in this video in any way, please hit the like button on YouTube. Please rate and review the audio. I really do think it stinks that DraftKings doesn't have the DFS contest out, but hopefully I was able to give you guys enough information to let you guys pick some winners and find the right guys in betting and DFS this week here at LIV Andalucia. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that way you can be back with us for the Pup Cup draft tomorrow night and the Open Championship preview Friday night, as well as the rest of the PGA Tour and the LIV Golf season in 2024, and then all of our NFL, college football, and college basketball content. All right, so that does it for this episode, y'all. Like I said, hopefully I was able to help you out a little bit. Best of luck to you this week with your betting for LIV Andalucia. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this point, and I will see you guys next time.